All right, so like I said, C2 is graphs of equations. That doesn't matter, it's not any better. Okay, and we're going to talk about points on a graph. We're going to talk about t-charts. We're going to talk about intercepts. We're going to talk about symmetry, and then hopefully we'll get some graphing calculator time. So first is how do I determine if a point is on a graph? If I graphed it and you saw the point, obviously it'd be easy to determine. But if you just get an equation and it's asking if a point's on a line, you don't want to have to graph it. You can simply plug it in. So we're going to plug in the x, we're going to plug in the y, and we're going to see that our result is a balanced equation. If it is, it's yes, and if it's not, it's a no. So it could look something like this. Determine whether the given point is on the graph of the equation. And I gave you x squared plus xy plus y squared equals 4. And it's asking if 0, negative 2 is on there. So I'm going to take and plug in the 0 everywhere there's an x, and the negative 2 wherever there's a y. And see if the left side equals the right. So I'd get 0 squared plus 0 times negative 2 plus negative 2 squared equals 4. 0 plus 4 equals 4, and 4 equals 4. So that's a true statement. This point would be on your graph. If it was a false statement, we would say no. All right, so some strategies for graphing when we have no idea what the graph looks like. We are going to go through our parent functions, our parabolas, our absolute values, our all those things, and we're going to talk about transformations. But let's just say you get smacked with an equation that you have no idea what it looks like that last one you wouldn't be able to graph by memory, okay? Then the goal would be to rewrite the equation so that one of the variables is isolated on one side. Typically, we isolate the y, and when we get to functions, it would be f of x. Then make your table of values, plot the points in the rectangular coordinate plane, and anything we're going to work on now should be a smooth curve or a line, not a piecewise function. Again, something we're going to get to in the future, but not for now. So I'm going to hope we could graph the line. That is A. Is that a consensus? Yes, we would be able to plot that. Yes, so I'm going to go to B, okay? When given the t-chart, simply plug them in. So I'm going to do negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1. 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. 0 squared plus 2 times 0, and I get 0. 1 squared plus 2 times 1, and I get 3. 2 squared plus 2 times 2, and I get 4 plus 4, or 8. And then that bottom row is like simply just making the coordinate from them. And then plotting it. Negative 1, negative 1. 0, 0. 1, 3, 2, 8. When I connect these, right, I just get this kind of part of my graph. But if you use your prior knowledge and you looked at that equation, what would you have expected to graph? A parabola. It's an x squared, right? So if you got given a t-chart like this, you don't need to make the full-on parabola, but obviously moving forward, like when we get to parent functions, I would know that this is only one half of my graph or part of my graph, so I would have to plug in points to the left of it to see that curve come back up. For right now, you're literally just plugging those points in and plotting what's given. Questions so far? Okay, so now let's talk intercepts and symmetry. For your intercepts, no matter what type of graph it is, it could be something that we're working on now. We're talking about lines, parabolas, anything like that. We could move forward and get into sine and cosine graphs. And it wouldn't matter. You would find your x-intercepts by plugging 0 in for y and then solving for x. And these must be in coordinate point form. So it'll be a number, comma, 0. So if the AP exam asks you for an intercept and you wrote y int equals, it won't count. It's got to be in coordinate point form, okay? Y-intercept, we plug 0 in for x and find the corresponding y. So that would look like 0, comma, a number. If you're looking from a graph, then the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. It's also called a 0. It's also called a solution. It's also called a root. So all of those names could get given. It could say find the x-intercepts of the graph. It could say find the zeros of the graph, find the solutions to the function, or find the roots of the graph. And all of them mean the same thing. Whereas the y-intercept is going to just be where the point where it crosses the y-axis, or it could say find the point where x equals 0. Those things would mean the same thing. Still good? Okay, next comes, we're going to go to symmetry, and then I'll go back to the equation. So symmetry on a graph can be three things. There's three tests for it. There's x-axis, y-axis, and origin symmetry, okay? When we're dealing with regular equations, when y is still in the equation, because down the road we're going to get to functions where there's no y, it's an f of x, but when that y is still there, then to determine if it's got symmetry to the x-axis, we replace y with negative y. Simplify your equation. If we are testing for the x or the y-axis symmetry, we replace x with negative x, so always the opposite letter. And if we are testing for the origin, we do both. Origin, x gets replaced with negative x, y gets replaced with negative y. In all three cases, you want to simplify your equation and then check for the following. If the equation goes back to the original, so it equals what you were given, or each term is the exact opposite, then that passes. So for example, for respect to a x-axis, I could get y squared equals x. If I took a negative y and I plugged it in and I squared it, what happens to that negative? It goes back to positive, and that equation would equal the original. So if you remember, this is a parabola turned on its side. That would have x-axis symmetry. For y-axis symmetry, we could use like our parent function for a quadratic, y equals x squared. If I take and plug in a negative x, and I square it, it goes back to the original. And if you think about that parent function, it's a parabola on the y-axis. So it would be symmetric to the y-axis. And then for your origin, an example could be like y equals x to the third. This time, when I plug in a negative y and a negative x, and I simplify, so what's negative x raised to the third power? It stays negative, so this would be negative x to the third. It doesn't equal the original, right? But what has happened? All the signs changed. If all the signs change, then it also passes. So this graph, which looks like this, would be symmetric with respect to the origin. Origin means everything happening in the top right quadrant is flipped to the bottom left. If it was top left, so like if it was a negative x to the third, it would look like this. That would also have respect to the origin. Top left flips down to bottom right. Still good? Okay, let's go back to the, I'm gonna skip this for a second. All right, so we're gonna add this, we're gonna put this into the calculator, okay? Couple of tips when using your graphing calculator. One, okay, if your window is messed up, like if for some reason you've zoomed in and you've got a really weird window, you can check it by literally hitting the button that says window. If you hit the button that says window, I hit the thing, window, okay. If I hit the button that says window, this is my standard zoom. Negative 10 to 10 on the x-axis, scale of 1. Negative 10 to 10 on the y-axis, scale of 1. If it's messed up, you could just change it back, okay? But another tip is every time you have a leading negative, it cannot be this minus sign. It has to be this negative. You'll see, if I put this minus sign there and then I hit enter, 10, enter, it's gonna yell you, okay? It says syntax error, and if I say, well, bring me to where the error is, if I go to, it's gonna bring you right there, okay? So anytime you have a leading negative, only if it's the very first thing you type, it has to be that bottom negative, okay? If your window's so messed up you have no idea what it is, reset your calculator. Like when in doubt, reset, and that is second plus 712. You're going to do that probably 50 times this year because every quiz and test you use your calculator on, you're going to reset your calculator. Second plus 712 brings it back to its factory settings. Okay, so I'm going to go to the y equals, and we're going to type in this equation. So another tip is when you are typing in a fraction, some of you have a shortcut key, okay? It is next to the alpha. So if you have a green, everybody has the green alpha if you have the TIs. The green alpha, you go next to it, it's the variable key. Above it, if you're lucky, I'm not. If you're lucky, you have a little stacked green boxes that looks like a fraction. How many of you have that? Raise your hand. Play the lotto this week, folks, okay? Because I bought this probably the same year as you, but 5 days before you, and I don't have the stupid boxes. Okay, if you have that, all you have to do is hit alpha and that button, and you get a fraction. If you don't have that, us sad people, we're going to go alpha y equals, and that's the other shortcut key. Alpha y equals brings up this shortcut. I hit enter on it, and it's going to bring you your stacked fraction. Yes, I could have opened parentheses, done 1, divided by 30, closed my parentheses. And on this, not that big of a deal. When we get to rational functions, you want to know how to stack your fractions, okay? The backup to the backup is math, arrow over to fractions, hit that top line, okay? But alpha, y equals, or that shortcut key is your friend. So I'm going to type in the 1, the 30, arrow next to it. Your variable key is next to the alpha, so there's my x. Open the parentheses, x to the 4th, come out of the exponent, minus 10, x to the 2nd, plus 3. Enter and graph. And then we wait. So from this graph, the instructions say find the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, and then find the value of y when x is 3.5. And round your answers to 3 decimal places. Every time you round a number from here until June, it is 3 decimal places. My test, quizzes, AP exam, 3 decimal places.
Can I see the y equals?
Can you, yeah. You have the x in front of the parentheses. That's what a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it? You getting an error?
I put another parentheses after.
Oh, you can put in a parentheses at the end. Shouldn't matter. I'll check it. If I hit pause right now, I lose the video. So I'll come and check it in a second, okay? All right, so I'm going to hit graph. So what did we say the x-intercepts are? Oh, wait, did I hit my squared? Mine might be different from yours because, yeah, no, I do. Right? X to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 3. Yeah, okay. All right, so if I wanted to see my intercepts, they're going to happen as I cross the x-axis, right? I can hit trace, and I call it a spider. It's like a spider, the poor little guy lost 4 of his legs. But that little flashing thing, I can move it around my curve, okay? And sometimes you get lucky and you land on a perfect 0 like that, like 0, 0, a whole number, nice and easy to grab. If you don't land on it perfectly, then we're going to use the second trace menu. This menu is probably the menu we use the most for graphing because it will get you a value, it will get you a 0, it will get you your min, your max, and eventually we'll get to intersect. So the 0 is the same as the x-intercept. I'm going to go to 0. Now, notice the question on the bottom says left bound. So I'm going to go left of the first time it crosses the x-axis. And I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to go to the right of the first time it hits the x-axis, and I'm going to hit enter. And then it says, are you ready for me to guess? And I am, so I'm going to hit enter again. And my first 0 is negative 3.1129. So I'm going to say negative 3.113. With me so far? Now it crosses again. Second, trace, go to 0. I'm going to go closer to where it crosses the x-axis. Hit enter. And then pass it. How do I know it crossed the x-axis? Because it's really hard to see that. My y went from a positive to a negative. Does that make sense? This one's hard to see. It almost flattens out. But if you look at the y, here it's positive, here it's negative. I know it crossed the x-axis. Hit enter. Oops, don't hit that. Dang it, I can't see my own fingers. 0. I'm going to go left of it. I'm going to go right of it. The bell's about to ring. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to bring me to that 0. Negative 0.556.